Hello, my name is Nick Huntington Klein. In this video, I'm going to talk about price discrimination. So what is price discrimination? Price discrimination is when the same company sells the same good or very, very similar versions of the same good to different people at different prices based on who those people are. That's the idea of price discrimination. So it's not that like you have a high quality version and a low quality version and you sell the high quality version for more. That's not price discrimination. It's not when you have like two different firms competing and one of them chooses to go high price and one of them chooses to go low price. That's not price discrimination. It's when you're the same company with two different versions of the same good. Or even the same, no versions, just the same thing, but you're charging different people different prices based on who they are. And the goal here, as the firm, what the goal is trying to do is they are trying to sell it for as high a price as possible to the high value consumers. So basically people who are willing to pay a lot, you charge them a lot. And people who are only willing to pay a little, you only charge them a little. Your goal here is to try to sell to as many people as possible without losing your opportunity to just charge the really high value consumers through the nose. That's the goal for the firm of price discrimination. You can think about why this might be. Think about we talked in the last video about monopolies, and we talked about monopolies that were only going to charge a single price. Now, what did they end up doing? They ended up charging a higher than efficient price and a lower than efficient quantity. They did this because every time they wanted to sell to more units, to more people, they would have to lower the price on everybody else, which of course loses them money. But what if they could just sell to more people without lowering the price than everybody else? That's what price discrimination is. There's a bunch of different ways in which it can be enacted too and performed. We have three different kinds of price discrimination that we talk about as economists. One of them is called first degree price discrimination, and that one you can sort of just see into people's brains and you know exactly what they're willing to pay, and so you charge them that. That one's not really realistic, although we'll see how good machine learning gets. Who knows? The second kind is called second degree price discrimination, and that is where you find people who are, they really want to buy a lot of something, and so you charge them sort of a fee to get in the door, and then you charge them a very low per unit price. And they're willing to pay it because they like say, hey, I want to buy a bunch of units of this thing, so I'm going to be willing to pay the price to get the bulk rate, and then I'm going to just pay the low price. Other people who don't want it as much, they'll just pay the higher single item price. So you can sort of compare, say, buying your milk and eggs and stuff at the regular grocery store where you're paying a higher per unit price as opposed to Costco where you have to pay a certain amount to get in the door, but then the prices that you pay after that are very, very low, right? And in that case, right, they are taking out that, they're charging the high value customers as much as possible by charging a high fee to get in the door. Costco makes most of their money from those membership fees, not the goods that they sell. The third kind, the kind that I think is most common, is third degree price discrimination, where you have some way of separating out groups of people. And this could be explicit. For example, if you go to a hair salon, generally they will have different prices for men and women. So that would be an example of third degree price discrimination. Men get charged less, women get charged more, with the goal of thinking, okay, I think that on average, women are willing to pay more. And so even if that's not a perfect description, maybe there are some women who are not willing to pay more, I'm still going to charge all women more because I think that they're willing to pay more. And so I can make more money if I charge them what I think they're willing to pay and charge men less because I don't think they're willing to pay as much. So that's an example of very explicit third degree price discrimination. It could be less explicit as well. So for example, sales or coupons are versions of third degree price discrimination. Think about what a sale or coupon does. It makes it so that you can get a lower price, but only if you put in a little bit of effort, right? Only if you put in a little bit of effort. You have to find the coupon and clip it out and remember to bring it with you. You have to remember when the sale is going to be and show up on the sale day to buy your thing. And so if you are a person who's not willing to pay very much, you might be more willing to seek out that coupon or that sale day. And so they're going to be able to sell to you at a lower price and still sell to everybody else at a higher price. Because if you don't care as much about price, if you're willing to pay a little bit more, maybe you value your time a little bit more than you value your money, then you're not going to bother finding the sale. You're just going to go in on the random day, not bother with the coupon, pay the higher price. And as someone who gets the sale price, it sort of feels like you're getting one over on the company, right? You got such a good deal. But actually they're doing it so that they make more money overall. It allows them to sell to you, the person who's not willing to pay very much, at a low price, while still selling to the other person who is willing to pay a lot at a high price. It's a way of expanding their market while still keeping their prices high. Now, a couple of things about this. We can also, beyond thinking about how they do this, it seems pretty obvious, at least to me, why this would improve profits, because it allows you to sell to everybody while also charging the people who are willing to pay a lot of money. And so it makes sense why the firm is going to make a bunch of profit off of this. We can also think about how benefits work otherwise. So let's think about, first of all, about efficiency. It's surprisingly, price discrimination actually makes the market more efficient. We talked about how in a monopoly's case, monopolies are going to be inefficient. They're going to produce inefficient amounts. And we can see why this is. If we look, I've drawn the exact same monopoly graph twice here. If we look what the profit maximizing point is for the monopoly, it's where marginal cost and marginal revenue meet. Great. That's going to be our point of, where we create that amount of quantity. Follow that up to here to get the price. And then we have this deadweight loss in here. People who we are not willing to sell to because it would require us to lower our price than everybody else. Now, those would be efficiency increasing sales to make because it costs us less to produce the good than it would, and they value it more than the cost. So we should be giving it to them. We should be selling it to them, but we're not willing to because it would make us less profit, right? It would increase efficiency, but it would reduce our profits. But what if we could sell to those people without lowering our prices on everybody else? Well, if we have multiple prices, we can do that. So what if we have, let's say, one price up here and then another price down here? If you're in this top part of the demand curve, you have to pay the higher price. If you're in this lower part of the demand curve, you can pay the lower price. Now there's no deadweight loss. So if we do our price discrimination, if we can do it if we like in an efficient way, or at least a more efficient way than without it, where we are willing to sell to everybody who it's efficient to sell to, thereby increasing efficiency, while still doing it in a way that maximizes our profit. So it gives us the incentive to actually improve efficiency. Now, this, of course, is an improvement in efficiency where a lot of that additional efficiency gain goes to the firm in the form of profit as opposed to the consumer, but it still is improved efficiency, right? From society's point of view, we are using our resources more effectively. We can actually think about how good this is for everybody overall. So for the company, it's clearly a good thing. They make more profit because they can sell to more people and they can still charge really high prices to people who are willing to pay high prices. This is also, however, a bad thing for high value consumers. Because think about what would happen. So if let's compare the same company with price discrimination and without price discrimination. Now it's tempting to think that if you got rid of price discrimination and had only one price, then the price would go to the low price it's by itself. So imagine, for example, or just the high price. So imagine, for example, a movie theater. If you go to a movie theater, there's a discounted ticket for senior citizens, right? So we have the general population price up here. We have the senior citizen ticket down here. Now, when we ask the question, what would happen if you got rid of price discrimination? Well, it might be tempting to think that the price would just stay up here at the general population ticket, right? But actually what would happen is that the prices would sort of be in the middle somewhere, right? Because why? Because when they go from having a single price to having multiple prices, that's two things. One, it's an opportunity to sell to more people, so they want to lower down here. But also it's an opportunity to raise prices on people who are willing to pay more. So this goes up here. So without price discrimination, the prices meet in the middle. With price discrimination, high prices go up and the low prices go down. That's how you maximize your profits doing it. So going from no price discrimination to having price discrimination is bad for the high value consumers because they're now getting paid. Now they have to pay more. They're paying closer to what they actually value the good at. So it's bad for them to have price discrimination. However, it's good for the low value consumers. If you are not willing to pay much, you might not have gotten even to have this good before without price discrimination. But now that the price lowers to match your valuation, now you're willing to buy the thing. You actually get the benefit of the good at the nice lower price. And so it's bad for the high value consumers. It's good for the low value consumers because they get to be part of a market and enjoy the good that they might not have been able to do before. How about for society and efficiency? It actually is good for society and efficiency because it allows it makes sure that the units, that there are more units being sold, that are efficiency increasing. Right, there are fewer units that go unsold because it would reduce the firm's profit. Now, granted, in terms of efficiency, this is good. It does mean a shift away from consumers towards producers. Right, the consumer surplus for those high value consumers is going to drop perhaps a lot, and it's going to come back in the form of profit. So it might be overall reducing consumer surplus, but there is at least a benefit for those low value consumers, and there is an efficiency gain overall, even if it is an efficiency gain that is tilted towards producers and away from consumers. That's it. Thank you.